everybody. Let's move on. Let's continue. Sorry it's a little late with my new positions and stuff. My new work schedule is a little weird in that it's not like stable. It's not ever going to be. So I'm gonna stream when I can. Let's see here. Let's level up a couple of weapons just to have some backups. Start with the Chaos Brigand Axe. I can't use it. Yeah, we'll figure that out later. Chaos is +9. Onyx Blade is maxed out. Let me throw some unusable stuff into the box. We have a few things to be doing. Of course, if you want to be summoned in, I will be at the first bonfire at the Ring City. And buy some fashion, I think. Cirrus.
Ashen One.
Wait, let me fix my rings. My rings were in full melee mode, which is weird because it's not the build at all, but it's what? Sage ring, swamp ring. Hey Matsuki, what's going on? How's everything? Nice. What are you taking, Toby? What are you studying? What are you reading? Ooh. Very nice. I think our friend is gone now. Or, wait, no, he's still here.
Now,
Yeah. He disappears after a moment or two. I want you guys to take a quick notice. There are gravestones will be passing by, and they all have holes in them, probably to signify the dark side. Hey, Marcus. Yeah, see these gravestones? I believe the hole is definitely to signify the dark side. If you look really closely at them, you have little cracks, and it's very evocative of the wrinkles and tree roots a little bit coming out from the holes. especially this one. And you have big models of blossoming green grass all over the place. Yeah, the dark sign and the dark sigil could be both, but they're like kind of separate. But I think this whole place is based on the dark sign, and the sigil is something else. It's semantic difference, but I don't think there's a real difference. Yeah, but there are definitely gravestones. But I like what that represents. Let me come over here so I can run. Check out the Ruin Sentinels, the OGs. We'll get into a little bit about their story. Once we get out of this danger zone. Jared Leto, please.
Many pieces like fire, forsaken. I speak of thine kind and mine. Behold this city. We are kindred, but like two eyes which gaze upon the other. Fear not the dark, my friend, and let the feast begin. One was a wayfaring knight on an endless, forbidden search. Only the abyss granted closure, if not reunion with his beloved. Fear not the dark, my friend, and let the feast begin. Many of us are by the fire, forsaken. I speak of thine kind and mine. Behold this city. We are kindred, but like two eyes which gaze upon the other. Fear not the dark, my friend, and let the feast begin.
Fear not the dark, my friends. These are the rude... Rude. Those guys are the rudest. They're just gonna push you off the cliff, you know. So, those are the Abaddon. I'm going to get to the bonfire, and I'm going to read a little Bible passage about the Abaddon. Yep, those guys are rude. Rude dudes. What's funny is the first time I went through this, it took me forever to figure it out. I'm not good at environmental puzzles, apparently, even though I'm really good at Ico and Shadow of the Colossus and stuff like that. And I will read the Ruin Sentinels armor piece. We can go back over the Ruin Sentinels and what that implies for the Ruin Sentinels that we do meet. Un, deux, trois. Un, deux. jerk. I like approaching this back half of this backwards. Alright. A little bit of a Bible verse. Revelation 9:11. Okay, so this is Revelation 9, chapter 9, verse 11. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. KJV 16:11. Later it does say that it does pretty much describe the Abaddon. Women's hair, lion's teeth, iron breastplates, a tail with a scorpion stinger, torments the living for months, especially when they do not have the seal of God upon them. And who is God in the Dark Souls universe? It's Gwyn. And what's his seal? Well, it's the dark sign. This is probably the most overtly Judeo-Christian based eschatology in the Souls universe. Even though it uses Dante's Trinity pretty well throughout the series, but this is the most Judeo-Christian it gets. Even Zoroastrianism, which is kind of a parent religion, and Egyptian thinking and philosophies work their ways into Judeo-Christianity as well. But yeah, it's all in Revelation 9:11. Basically, the Ring City DLC is Dark Souls' version of the Book of Revelations. It is a fevered dream of a sleeping god. You are the guy just kind of... You can't explain everything because it is beyond your ken what you're seeing. So it all comes up really magical and sort of crazy. But yes, this is Dark Souls' version of the Book of Revelation. So, like, the Ring City has a lot of cues from the Hebrew Sheol, which is sort of the underworld. And then you have all of the parent feeder religions that come into Judeo-Christianity. Sumeria, Zoroastrianism, and Zoroastrianism is very big with fire gods. Their main god is Ahura Mazda, and like he is like the fire god. And he is against, I think, Mitra, who is not fire, darkness, I think. There's even some shades of Inanna, if we want to talk Sumerian religion, especially with Dark Souls 3. Even though you get lots of power, you're kind of being depowered as you pass through different levels or gates into the underworld. This is, with all of this said, this is your descent into the Dark Souls underworld. This whole thing, the Ring City, is essentially the underworld of Dark Souls. So you have come into the underworld to find that which powers it, and that is the Dark Soul. And so they use a lot of like revelations in Hebrew and Sumerian, and they reference so much mythology in here all at once to really bring that home. You are in the underworld. This is the underworld. Even Buddhism is referenced in here, if you want to talk about the mandala stuff, and how the ring city is very much the center of a mandala. And some mandalas are depictions of the underworld. And I have one that I referenced in Syzygy, but it like escapes, the minor details kind of escape me, but like there are different levels at the very ends that end in a fire that looks sort of like the dark sign. And it's supposed to depict the underworld. That one's described in Syzygy, I believe. Hey, Vodka. So I don't know. I'd love to see like someone better than me at making a Dark Souls mandala, but I doubt that's gonna happen. And we are now at the center of that mandala. Hey, Lep. Way after Lucille. This is the end of time, Marcus. Here's where they mess with our colloquial sense of English. Because you know how we talk about how, oh, they must mean something else because they speak Japanese? No. They mean what they say in English. They know enough English to mess with our perceptions of English. This is what do you think when we talk about the end of the world? The end of the world in colloquial English is the apocalypse. It's like the world just blowing up in front of us. This is the literal and figurative end of the world. It is the end of time. It is the end of the world. It is that literal final point of the world. This is the literal and figurative point in the world. But this is just a decaying, this isn't a decaying illusion. There's no one else here. Everybody else is kind of fallen to tatters. But yeah, like seriously, this is the literal and figurative end of the world. So this is way after Lucille. This is like half, yeah, and that's something that we get from Dark Souls 2. A lie, to quote Aldia, a lie remains a lie. Oh, the original place, before Lucille, this was to appease the primal men, and somehow Manus got out, died, and then was buried and poked at a whole bunch of times by Ulyssil. But before that, Half-Light probably showed up here. Like Ulyssil, there's probably some overlap between Ulyssil and the Ring City, but Ulyssil freaked out probably way after Half-Light. But him staring this way is a clue, because if you look down, you can see the monument right there. Yeah, and we'll get to it, but I think Midir and Half-Light are the same person. But yeah, we'll get there. Yeah. But instead of Midir turning people into swans, he got turned into a dragon. So let's talk to Lap.
Oh. Well, fancy meeting you here. A true blessing that we should seek the same place and find ourselves standing here together. I've got the last of my brew. Let's have our own little toast with it.
The reason why I love the Ring City so much is because it is Dark Souls at its most crazily ontological and mythological and eschatological, and it's nuts and it's awesome and I love it. So I will probably go off a few times during this.
And to your duty, and to the joy that lies before us. All right then. Bottoms up.
Well, yeah.
Now, I'm off in search of the purging monument. Once I find it, everything will come back to me. Who I was, what I lived for, what my name was.
Lap,
and what
buddy,
terrible grudges I
buddy,
had.
pal.
I just have
Pal.
this feeling that that's the kind of man I was.
Do you really,
Don't hold it against me. I only think I was.
do you really want to know? I mean, can't you just accept yourself the way you are? I mean, can't you just accept yourself the way you are? And not search for things you might not want? And that's one of those, this is one of those like little threads that follow Dark Souls about, and it's the declaration of identity and memory, by the way, which is something I've been harping on over this whole playthrough of 2 and 3, is that memory creates who you are to some degree. And Lap has pretty much forgotten all of the memories that make Patches Patches. So is he really Patches? And that's the question that was brought up way back in Dark Souls 2. Are you still responsible for memories you don't have anymore? Are you still the same person when you don't have those memories, because those memories are completely different now? Yeah, and it's a similar question asked by the film Dark City, which is, it doesn't seem to have very much to do with Dark Souls at all, because it is high science fiction film noir, but noir and this kind of a gothic horror do share similar themes and stuff like that, so they do work. Yeah, but while 10 does that, Dark Souls itself disagrees. Like in Dark Souls 2, you're not going back in time to fight in the war between giants in Drang Lake. You are entering Watcher trees to adjust collective memory. You are entering the collective memory. You're not going back in time in Dark Souls 2. You are going into collective memory, and you are fighting a memory of the giant king. And when you do that, it's the same thing as doing it anyway, because everybody remembers it a certain way, and when you remember it a certain way, that's history. Dark Souls doesn't have a very bright view of history, pun intended. History is just memories, an amalgamation of memories, and when you go and you mess with a collective memory, for instance in Dark Souls 2, that becomes history. So there you go. It's a big theme with Dark Souls, what memories are, and how memories form not just our identity, like with Lap, but our collective identity and our collective history. Do you have anything else to say?
I'm off in search of the purging monument. Once I find it, everything.
Which is why I don't really care very much about time, but 2 and 3 are not time. You're not doing anything with time. Time doesn't matter in either of those games. You are messing with memory, which is almost the same thing, but not quite. Hi. And in a way, what I'm getting at with Lap is maybe Maybe Lap should let it lie and just be who he is. Let's go see a cool thing, because hopefully it's still here. You see that over there? Since you're kind of running through here, you'll probably miss it, but there's my deer. Make sure I'm not going to get ganked. Yeah, that's my deer. Would you, please? Yeah, the slumbering dragon. But check out where he is. Alright, so this is gonna take some, like, spatial reasoning. And I'm still not convinced. But this right here is the mausoleum. This is where you fight Gale. And inside of this building is the ring where the thrones actually are. So, like, the Pygmy Lords are in this place right here. No! The tower's not cut. You enter it. This is the boss arena. It's just, it falls over and is a crumbled heap when you get there. You don't get here during this illusion phase, but it is where the boss arena is. Gale's in here. He is chewing on some Pygmy Lords. There's Madeir. And that's where Filianor should be. And the exit in box art world should be right either on the left or the right of that middle window. So you come out of that window and you go down the hill, down the hill, to the crumbled ruins of this stupid building. Because that's where the Pygmy Lords are. And yeah, that's Madeir, and then he moves down to Filianor's church a little bit. I think Filianor is stamina for the world. I'm not sure if she has anything to do with time, but she keeps the world alive by having a full green bar. But I'm not sure. So this is our main bonfire. But this isn't open yet, so we have to move on. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Filianor is very much associated with green grass, but grass grows with light, so possibly? Very, very possible. So yeah, it's really possible because of the photosynthesis reference. You know what I'm saying? Definite, like, photosynthesis. I think that's what they're getting at with Filianor's power. Oh, come on. Really? Can't. Remember, no one has poise. My sword's on fire too. And there's been lots of talk about these statues. In my mind, these are the original meanings of some of the stuff that you see in the Sword of Avowal. It's the burden of the dark sign, or the seal placed upon us by God with regards to Revelations, as a burden upon primeval man, our forebears. Lots of guys above you. Definitely always look above. Check out this guy. Remember when I said at the beginning of the playthrough to pay very close attention to Way of White stuff? He is wearing the starting class cleric's armor, except it is positively ruined and in tatters. For comparison's sake, I will put on mine. The only real difference is the actual chest. But we're both carrying the same pouch, wearing the same color. We even have the same turtle shell. Can I turn you over? Really? I can't turn you over? Because of your turtle shell? No, I almost had it! Okay. So, there's the back side. Let me get a closer look at the shell. It looks a lot more organic. It looks like it burst through the back of the chest. So what do you guys think? Is this the original cleric's robes, and these somehow took on the look as a sort of homage, or what do you guys think? Guess I'll leave it on, just in case. Pay very close attention to their corrupted miracles. When you break their stamina, they get on their not only are these corrupted heal miracles targeted, like one of the miracles you can get in this DLC, but it harms those that it targets, and it heals the person who casts it. Still, I really kind of wish that they made that a real miracle I could use in PvP. See that pop in there? No, not the Shriving Stone gank, item gank. I look amazing. There's really never enough time for a video game. There's always going to be something cut.
Speak thee the name of God, thine own God, if thou canst but wait. Perhaps 'tis right.
Camera's behind me just to watch. Alright, thing about the Harald Knights. One, the very first one, will come all the way up the staircase. It is a gotcha moment, because for the most part, everybody will go straight for the door and start talking to Shira. And the first one, his pathing takes him all the way up here to drop down right there. I'm not sure if you guys noticed that, because this guy becomes a tutorial on how to defeat the Herald guys, because it's a free drop down. But it is also a gotcha, because his pathing will take him all the way up here, and if you are not all the way over here, you will get into his aggro range, and he will kill you at the door. So you have to come all the way over here, wait for him to drop down, and then you can talk to Shira without any troubles at all. The rest of them will only come up to about, there, and then turn around. Yeah, it's... because if you didn't get it from the rubbish heap, then, like, you're going to have a bad time. But I've seen everybody get got by that gotcha. And I think E&B had a fit about it the other day. But if you stand over here, wait for him to pass out, it'll be fine. That said, I hate this section. This section of the Ring City is the worst. Ah, damn it. No, he's got a point. Because the way to defeat the gotcha isn't very noticeable. Yeah, Curse got me. I almost killed him, but I wasn't fast enough. Sigh. Yeah, I hate this whole section. This whole section's kind of the worst. Hi. He's got a point. He's not wrong, but there is a way to defeat it. But it's not obvious, and so it's still, like, it still deserves some criticism, is what I'm saying. It's just there is a way around it. Because it's definitely not obvious at all. Yeah, and notice you are descending for the most part. Hello. But now we don't have to talk to Shira. I'm gonna head over this way. Here's your moss fruit because it's useful here. We're gonna get our first invasion. Where? Yeah, there he is. I was right up against a wall. That sucked. I still think the worst of that is, hey, let's put all the spooters, all of the spooters. Oh, you can parry it, but I needed to back up and like reset to mentally prepare to parry that. My main character has been maining on Murakumo for a little while. Actually, the Murakumo is what I used to beat Madeir in New Game Double Plus. It really helped that they buffed curved greatswords the way they did, just to hit faster. Oh, it was early. Ah, damn it. I'm trying not to aggro the other ring knight that I avoid on the way here. Marcus kind of depends on the playstyle. If you like parrying, then Lothric Knights will eventually be easier, maybe? Because if you can set up parry them, then it's fine. I should just stop meleeing Alva and just hit him with some fire, but I want to be fancy! Being really as squishy as I am, missing a parry sucks. I'm only at about 1,000 HP or something, 1080. Yeah, that's the ring knight I don't want aggro. And I totally did, so I'm just gonna have to fight him now. What? I thought you were dead, dude. Can you die now? Thanks. Alright, time to not be fancy, I guess. Hey, Toby. Welcome back. Ah, damn it! Damn it! He's being really fast today. Yeah, I really love the little like mid-boss arena. The purple flowers. Probably purple because of humanity. Side note. I want my nails, man. I really want my nails. Want my nails. What I mean by that is Zuli's hands, like her hand gloves, come with fake nails. And those those press-on nails are awesome. I want them. Hey, Cool Breeze. Thank you. Welcome. What's up? We're chatting lore as I mess around with Alva. Instead of actually get things done. Ah, damn it! Ah, damn it! Early on the parry! Because I knew he was going to go for the weapon art. Yeah. Like, Midir's using affinity. Like, in his Shin Mecha Godzilla second phase, he uses affinity. It's like this ridiculous, crazy affinity, but you know. Actually, you know what? Oh, cool, yeah. I mean, I've finished this game before, but like... Hey! Chaos bed vestiges. I can use that now. Let's go chaos. Let's throw some lava around. Yeah, this build is a Onyx Blade Pyromancer, so I'm pretty squishy. My power levels aren't where they should be at the moment, but... I am also slightly underleveled. But by golly, Alva. Eat crap. Get out of here. The answer is always throw lava around. Yeah, I love fighting Madir. I'm gonna be that guy. I love fighting Madir. Time for nails. Yeah, you can see them. Always throw lava around. So Wolf's Ring, because I don't think I have it in the main game for some reason. I think I skipped over it. Ring associated with the Abyss Walker Artorias, one of the 4 Knights of Gwyn, the First Lord. Increases poise. Whatever that means. Artorias had an unbendable will of steel, and was unmatched with a great sword. Alright. So, yeah. You find him protecting the body. Zuli is one of the spirits that is captured by the Adjudicator Giant, along with Silver Knight Jared Leto, and basically all of the Ruin Sentinels. Side note, I didn't read the Ruin Sentinels things yet, so let's give that a quick read. And this does confirm what I said in Dark Souls 2. Helm of the company of knights who were sent to the Ring City on an old king's orders. The knight sought the dark soul, but were so soundly crushed they had little choice but to swear themselves to the Judicator Giant. The ill-fated company was later immortalized in a dark fable, inspiring the aspect of certain golems in whom their name lived on. Everything is fake in Dark Souls 2. Even all of the so-called dudes in armor were all fake. There was no dude in any of those armors. So that's kind of why the Ruin Sentinels looked so weird to begin with. Because they weren't actually real. They were pretty much golems, like pretty much everything else in Dark Souls 2. Is any of us real? That's moss fruit. We're gonna go this way. Remember, lighting is always a thing from Soft Likes doing to direct your attention to something. So we're gonna grab that. Avoid this guy. Hi. Can't talk right now. I'll talk to you later. Yep, that's fine. Thanks. No appreciation for the auditory dodges? Grab that. Prism Stones, which comes out of Kingfield series. I forget which one. Like, Prism Stones are an important bit in, like, the Kingsfield series. Alright, let's reset everybody. So, besides the Harald Knights being... Here's an observation. Dark Souls 3 has a lot of enemies. Specifically to trap people who like killing everything in in a place instead of being strategic about what they do kill and what they don't kill. And the Harald Knights are one of those traps. If you try and sit there and kill all, what, 6 of them, you're gonna have a bad time. Like, they expected everybody to kill everything in Dark Souls 1 on your way to the next bonfire, and they balanced it for the 5 Estus you had at the time. But Dark Souls 2 and 3 kind of trapped that playstyle. He does not like my humanity fire. I mean, he doesn't care about it. Wow, I took a lot. You know, probably. Drang Lake was a lot of also-rans, and a lot of its intelligence comes from Aldia and such like. So there's a couple of really important things we just picked up. One of which is something I can wear on my face, and the other one is a spear. Yeah, and like, each of the 3 games has a different style of management, resource management between bonfires. And I think people don't realize that. Like, Dark Souls 1 is pretty much as straightforward as it comes. You have 5 Estus, you have long bonfires, and they're balanced towards a person getting from point A to point B with 5 Estus. That's fine. Dark Souls 2 introduces life gems, and whatever you think about life gems is irrelevant. But life gems adds a sort of a variable to that thing, so it becomes more bonfire to bonfire management in a way that it isn't so much in Dark Souls 1, where it's sort of like first bonfire to boss management. Instead, Dark Souls 2 is bonfire to bonfire. You're really scraping for that bonfire, which is why there are so many. That and the graphics engine isn't probably as good as it could have been, so like loading things was a big deal on that engine, so get people as close as possible without having to like tax the engine so much, and so, or tax your resources, because it takes a lot to get to certain bonfires, and here it's even more pronounced. Yeah, but yeah, poison's stupid, you're not wrong, but life gems is a little bit of a weird difference. Although life gems is a callback to Demon Souls and Kingsfield, where they had like incremental heals like that. Anyway, yeah, Dark Souls 1 is more bonfire to boss management. Dark Souls 2 is bonfire to bonfire management. And Dark Souls 3 tries to do both. So there's these stretches in Dark Souls 3 where it's like you have 6 Harald Knights plus all these other things, and they don't actually expect you to kill everything. They expect you to pick and choose what you're going to kill to get to the next bonfire. It's weird. Ringed Knight Spear. Black spear wielded by the Ringed Knights. The arms of early men were forged in the abyss and betray a smidgen of life. For this reason, the gods cast a seal of fire upon these spears and those who possessed them. And if you remember your Revelations, like I mentioned earlier, Revelations 9:11 says that the Abaddon, or the locust creatures, tormented the men who had the seal placed upon them by God for months. Speaking of the Abaddon, locust, white preacher head, an empty head of a white-faced locust that rose from an abyssal swamp. Also, the Abaddon are angels, so there's your angel thing again. The white-faced locusts were meant to beckon men to the dark with sermons, but most of them were unable to think past their own stomachs. Someone must rise to the occasion and restore the path of righteousness. Perhaps that someone is you. Did you not arise from the abyss? And did you not resist drowning in the age of fire? Locusts and men are kindred spirits. Yeah. Including you've got the jailers using Dark Souls 2 curse against you, which is something. So yeah, there's a couple of things, but that's a soul packet. I believe that's a crestfallen warrior. Let's grab it. Yeah. Basically an item gank. Alright. Let's go up the ladder. Can you let me go up the ladder, please? Thank you. Yeah, when the item description suddenly turns meta, that's when you give it the side eye and you're like, guys. Alright, so, there's your scorpion tail. Hair like that of a woman's. The iron breastplate is up front. And we don't actually see the teeth because they're wearing a face. What was that you wanted to say, sir?
One poor girl slew her own kin, but even so was embraced and enveloped by the abyss. 'Twas a comfort that neither moon nor sun sky afforded her before. Fear not the dark, my friend, and let the feast begin.
Yes. They're wearing a face. We actually don't see their real face. We actually have one of their faces. The white Peacher's head.
One led the dark with learning, but in the end learned his knowledge was wanting. The world began without knowledge, and without knowledge will it end. Does not this ring clear and true?
That's not their real face.
Dark, my friend, and let the feast begin.
You can see the iron breastplate that Revelations talks about with the Abaddon. Yeah. I don't know if anyone's caught their teeth when they do the I shall partake attack.
One poor girl slew 'twas a fear.
So, here's the other thing that links this to other games. We're always in the Abyss in Dark Souls 3, but we visit the Abyss in Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 1, Sartorius, the Abyss, you visit it there. Dark Souls 2 is the Chasm of Old, and you get invaded by... You get pre-invaded by past characters. Mostly from Dark Souls 1, you get a Havel, you get a Richard, you get a King Jeremiah. But in Dark Souls 3, this is abyssal, and so you get invaded by a couple of people from the games, like Alva, Morn, Aegon, and no! Why? No! Leave me alone. Really depends on what you think the Abaddon are wearing. And so I was actually more interested to see if we got invaded by Abyssal Cirrus. And notice also that when you do get invaded by Alva and Aegon and Jared Leto and stuff like that, only Silver Knight Leto has his name. Alva doesn't have his name. Oh crap, why? I was not expecting this guy. Like, some of these guys don't have their names. Break. So that could be that they've lost their identities. Yeah, I'm just gonna get run off from there. Let's go fight Jared Leto. Ah. Oof, I did not. I'm just gonna mash your body. Nope. The poke wins every time. Poke always wins. No, seriously, you guys. I learned that in Dark Souls 2. The Claymore poke always wins. Leto's Great Hammer? NPCs never avoid the poke for some reason. It's stupid. Leto's Great Hammer. Great Hammer wielded by the Silver Knights of Leto. The Silver Knight Leto. Leto's hammer is far the heaviest weapon amongst those wielded by the Knights of Anor Londo. Leto, an eccentric who traveled across the outskirts, became a close friend to the giants and even Havel, the rock, called stone. Spin to lure stones to the steel hammer, and use strong attack to transition to an earth slam that shatters the stones in shockwave. Here's a random thought. What do you guys think of Leto's friends with Havel, the rock, who we know in Dark Souls 1 ends up at the bottom of a watchtower, locked up because he wanted to, and also he hated dragons and magic, and he carried occult stuff. What if Havel, Leto, and the giants were all friends, and like the giants were being messed with by Gwyn's apparatus, which led to Havel getting tossed into the tower and hollowing out? Let me know what you guys think of that timeline. I don't take a very bright, pun intended, view of Gwyn, but Speaking of Havel, that's actually a reward for beating Leto. Although you could probably skip Leto and just grab the ring. Hey guys, what are you looking at? Oh. Item gank, I guess. Note how all of these rocks are the same as a deep gem, I think? I want to say deep gem. Could be wrong. Could be dark gem. There's a gem that looks just like this. I'll dig it up in a minute or two. I thought there was a thing up here. Isn't there a thing up here? Why do you... Leto, please. Fine. I'll just take it and go. And the chunk. These guys are praying. They don't aggro until you take it. What's in here? Which is an awesome thing in theory, but doesn't really work in practice. I'm not going that further that way because I don't want to mess with Sasquatch. I mean, Dragon Slayer armor. Oh! Did you see Monster Hunter World stuff? There's a playable demo at Gamescom. There's nothing this way, right? Yeah. Polygon has a... Yeah. Really interested in that. Like super duper. Assaulter Bob, who edits my essays, is he's really old school when it comes to Demon Souls. Like he got the Korean edition of Demon Souls back when it was not licensed by Atlas. And let me open this door. When he was describing it to other people back in the day, he used to call it a Monster Hunter, like the way we call everything a Souls-like. Well, the Korean edition was in English, which is why he got the Korean edition. Instead of like the Japanese one. Hey.
And so, she lived in fear of the dark, of the things that gnawed at her flesh, and yet, the abyss had yet to produce any such creature. Fear not the dark, my friend, and let the feast begin.
Are these guys trustworthy to believe what they say about the abyss?
And so, despite his weighty armor, he lived in fear of a delicate thing, little more than a girl, where fire is hidden, shadows twist and shrivel, but in the abyss, there are shadows. the feast begin.
Are they differentiating between shadow and actual true dark? Is shadow different than true dark?
And so, and yet fear not.
Yeah. But are they to be believed? Door open? Yeah. Okay, so everybody knows what this puzzle is, right? Yeah, show your humanity. So everybody remembers Artorias of the Abyss, right? Everybody remembers the enemy, the humanity sprite. There was tall ones, fat ones, little ones. The little ones were theorized to be children. The tall ones, their parents. They look like they were in family units. Oh, come on. Really? There. So the sprite is the same fire as my onyx blade. Humanity is its own fire. When there is a first fire, there is a final fire. And this is the final fire. The gods are on one side and humanity is on another, and both are kin to a specific flame. Remember what the sprites, their entire moveset gimmick was in Dark Souls 1. All they wanted to do was pass through you. They wanted to consume you, to embrace you into their family. And it burned you because you're not in your true face. Aldia says in Dark Souls 2, men assumed a fleeting form. The body is not the true face of man like Yuria thinks. This is the true face of man, as is humanity's sprite, which means every human, every person is a piece of that fire, much like the souls that you pick up are little flame licks, little individual flames of the first flame. Each humanity's sprite is a flame lick from the greater humanity fire. Like, humanity's fire is its own soul. Which means, and that's something that I've been coming to grips with, Hollows do have their humanity soul. That's something I wanted to talk about a little bit. Because remember the Irithyll slaves and what I talked about with the Irithyll slaves? There are two sets of souls within an individual. There is the flame that you all know of from the first flame, and there's the humanity flame. The flame everybody knows of is where the dark sign is. It's on your chest, right? Because in many major religions, the home of the soul is in your heart. However, and there are in some philosophical thought, the seat of your soul is in your head. And this comes up in Hellblade too. So the Irithyll slaves are nothing more than their humanity, which is on their head. The Harald Knights are nothing but their humanity, which is on their head. It is the difference between the mind and the heart. And that might actually be the central conflict of Dark Souls. The conflict between the mind and the heart, and Jared Leto. While I'm looking for the map. Oh yeah, there's the ladder. Shed a tear for that. What is it, Loki? You can see the camera shake. I think that Madeira is supposed to be moving while I'm climbing this ladder. Let me run through here and not die because I have 41k sitting in my... I was going to do a YOLO run and look for some items, but I remembered that I have 41k sitting on my stain and I need to get out. That's almost a level, y'all. I think so. Because we are ourselves, like the Ashen One is itself a memory and not technically with its own soul to take up valuable real estate. So we can take on lots of people's different memories, including the memory of humanity, which might just be the dark soul. And carry it forward. Yeah, and as Toby mentioned, embers, the Ashen Ones seek embers to make memories real. Really, Giant? You're gonna summon your... Oh, we bleed ash, don't we? It's like gray, ashen kind of thing. Nope, don't care. Are you guys gonna keep messing with me? Nerds? These guys. Yeah, you have an Adjudicator Giant basically protecting this thing with a couple of Ring Knights. One thing I did pick up is a shield of a head. Remember in Dark Souls 1 where you were like, man, I wish we could use those heads? Well, here they are. The shield, as hard as a great boulder, is formed by the head of the descendant of an archdragon. The Ringed Knights, by command of the gods, stood amongst the ranks who set out to slay the dragons, but their contributions were never lauded. Dragon breath. Even the descendant of an archdragon perishes not, and use of this skill restores its former strength, sweeping foes with a frontal exhalation of dragon breath. And there's Jared Leto's hangout, and the Purging Monument, and some stuff, and some jerks. Yeah, I really like pyromancy. It's and I'm not even anywhere near maximum power yet. It's got ranged attacks, it's got buffs, it's got protection stuff. Skip to the bonfire last rested at. But like it has Cornix, who's a kindly old gentleman, Cuculus kinda, and Carla, who's not Yuria. Yeah. Seriously. I wonder what happened here, that they were pulling bricks off the wall. By the way, doesn't this seem like an inverted chimney? Oh, I had a bit of fashion I wanted to put on. Wait, how did this... Was Zuli actually hollowed out? And when she was traveling, she hid her hollowed out face? I mean, her cheekbones? Because in Dark Souls 2, it prevented curse buildup, right? So... Huh. Yeah, but I'm just wondering because, like, okay, so Zulie's veil was intended for travel and to hide her affiliation with her misunderstood craft of witches. Okay, fine. And then she would wear this when she was hanging out as a symbol of heretical crafts, jaunty ankle and stuff, right? And that's fine. In Dark Souls 2, this prevented curse buildup. But it also basically occludes the face. And what else does the face show about her, about a person, but if they're hollowed or not? Unless there was something else that showed in the face that you're a heretical sorcerer? Is there anything like that? I'm just spitballing. I don't know. There's the Great Shield. That's why you come down here. Yeah, like maybe... Well, she's a witch, and if they do go with the whole, like, witch marks, then maybe she had a birthmark? Yeah, maybe she had, like, heterochromia or something. Possibly, because you can't see the eyes with the normal hat either. By the way, there's our boy Madir, who's hanging out on top of that rock. We missed it, but he was up there, and then he came down here. Madir, tip of the hat, my dear. Ah, damn it. I knew I was late. But I needed to try to make it to the drop-off point. Yeah. Meh. Now I have to change my spells again. So lazy. So lazy, Marcus. Probably should go find Lap and tell him where the stuff is. There's Aegon. Yeah. Again, I mean, I don't have any time for your crap right now. There's the Ring of the Evil Eye 3. Yeah, Egon and Aegon sound very similar, so it's like... Is he coming? Look at this RP walk over here. Literally RP... just you know, out for a stroll. Yes, Egon is lost. Seriously, the only weapon a skeleton in this game has is their massive delay in the attack. Where is he anyway? I know he fell. No, I don't have any more. Yeah, he's totally hiding. Do I have to go? Wow, where did he go? What do you guys think? Did Havel use his own ring? this guy. He thinks he's got all the time in the world. Because, he's a domino, the domino mask. He deserved it. I deserve that. RP walking up the stairs. Just gonna bounce this to the... Should have went to the shrine. We have to go tell Lap where... Man, I love Mephistopheles. I wish they brought back Mephistopheles' outfit. That'd be cool. Of the things from Death, I wish they brought back in DS3. The blind and Mephistopheles' outfit.
Ashen One, thou then call I am of thou hast given. Very well, then take.
$58, $58.
Mayst thou thy Ashen One, then I am of thou. Very well, then take.
Alright, vigor is done, endurance, everything's done except intelligence and faith.
Mayst thou thy king.
And then I'll be at 120.
Ashen One.
We picked up the domino mask, so let's take a look at that real quick. Before we go look for patches. Blindfold mask. An eye-occluding mask of unknown origin. Strengthens dark attack, but also greatly increases damage sustained from dark. This purple steel creation has a certain resemblance to the Firekeeper's crown, but the similarity is purely cosmetic. Yeah, I think Tanemura's work in Kingsfield really showed in Dark Souls 2. Because I believe he did Kingsfield 4. Or he's something in Kingsfield 4, I think. Loki, yes. Trying to remember which way is the best way to get to Patches. Yeah, and there's also the bit about darkness, because Irina gets very interesting once you start driving her crazy. In a way, I kind of think driving her crazy is the intended main path of that quest. Nothing can ever top Bonfire Chan. Bonfire Chan! I'm gonna do a couple of YOLO runs, partially because I have a vague remembrance, but I don't remember exactly where Patches should be now. He should be like right across the monument, but on the other side. I think maybe this way? Whatever that is, I want no part of it. No? Not this way? Gentlemen? Ah, I was early on that dodge. Okay, Leto ladder? Okay. Alright, I guess it's this way. Or maybe not. Okay, it should be this way. Past these jerkwads.
And here we are again. How goes it? I'm rather running in circles, I'm afraid. I'm urging onward. And I've searched high and low. What if it was never here in the first place? Bloody hell. What do I know? Are you certain of that? No. Sorry, I know you...
It's your choice to
Thank you.
take memories that are better left alone.
I'll speed right on over. It won't be long now before I know everything. Who I was, what I lived for, what my name was. And I'll have you to thank for it all. Thank you. Most sincerely. I swear upon my birthday that I am your friend. No matter what might come out, no matter what I was, if you would do me the honor, allow me to be a true friend. Always. It won't be long now, who and I.
You're welcome, dude. Notice, Covetous Gold Serpent Ring 3 is right next to him. He saw that. I'm sure he did. I love you, Patches. You'll always be my friend. My friend. Yep, pretty much. Oh yeah, where's Preacher's right arm? Because I definitely missed that. Soul of a nameless soldier. He was getting fed. YOLO, so much YOLO. Yeah, wait, was it here? There's Zuli, doing Zuli things. Alright, let's, I'll grab the Preacher's right arm later. Let us go do... that Patches encounter again. Or wait, I think this is it right here. Yeah, there it is. Let's do that last patches thing and then piss off a dragon. Not sure if it's going to mess it up if I do it backwards, so let's go run through the field of fire again. You guys are so rude. Friendo? Friendo? Just in case you didn't get it.
Oh, finally, you've come. Now I know exactly who I was. And for that, I've a little thanks to be giving. Go this way and peep past the broken staircase. Some awfully fine treasures just sitting there all alone.
All alone, you say? It'll change my life, you say?
I've much to thank you for. So I'll say it again and again. Go this way and peep past the broken staircase. Some awfully fine treasures just sitting there all alone. What? Don't you believe me?
No. But for old time's sake, sure. Look at my nails. My nails are so awesome.
Every age is tainted by the greed of men. Rubbish to one such as I, devoid of all worldly wants. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way we are. I'll stick you in my prayers. A fine dark soul to you.
Well, roll credits. I'm pretty sure FromSoft has the ability to. They just don't want to. Easier for localization, really. Fine dark soul to you. Roll credits. Cut. That's it. That's all you need. I'm not looking forward to seeing the damage I don't do to Madeir. Get you in the third. Oh yeah, I've seen it happen. I've seen that very thing happen. Mercury destroys the crap out of him. I'm gonna die. Oh, so that's how it works. I thought it was like Chaos Bed vestiges. You know what? Madeira is better than Dragon God for two simple reasons. He doesn't get bodied by harpoons that are just staring at him. Oh my god, I do nothing. If I die, I'm gonna have to switch to see if my chaos... Ah, I thought I missed that. Let's see if my chaos axe does better damage. Touché. Touché. Let's see if this will do better damage against the old fire breath. Let's just, yeah. Damn it. It's doing really good too. I was trying to dodge one of those moves and it was like, nope. Let me hug you, my dear. He's just gonna punch me off a cliff. It's like, sing that to the tune of, David Duchovny. Why Don't You Love Me? Ah, damn it. I misdodged that. Green sleeves. come on. Yeah. Oh, come on. No, 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 no. Fuck. Damn it. That was totally my fault. Ah. F. Gravity will always win. It's just that simple. I was pretty close to getting the visceral and killing that off. Oh no, 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 no. I'm just gonna back up and reset. You done? Oh. What did I miss down here? Oh, right. Gravity will always win. Gravity, greatest of all time. He's so cool. Well, bye then. Wow. Hey, Virus. What's going on? Lightning arrow. Alright. This is probably the most lore important bit in the entire frickin' game. Santa Claus bringing home a toy for a good boy. Here, have some more stamina. And we have made it back to our main bonfire. At last. Let's grab that gifterino. Oh, it's on the other side. The Silver Knight without arms. Without literal arms. Like swords. Not like arms. This way will be the way over to Madeir. Let's grab this. There's always a Covenant specific item near the place you join that Covenant, so that should give you a clue when you read it that there is a Covenant nearby. I'm gonna grab that. We'll be back to fight Madeira later. I might actually have to switch to Pestilent Mercury, considering how much damage I'm doing as a straight Pyromancer. The finished area, you will find a hole, and notice how the pygmy is doing a certain pose. Not saying, but I'm saying. And you pick up the Chloranthy, which just seems to have settled in as a dowry for Filianor's symbolic marriage to the city, to the pygmies. So we did pick up a whole slew of things. I'm going to switch my Chloranthy ring. So we're at the doorstep of Filianor now. Filianor and Half-Light and Madir are at all of their doorsteps. So what did we pick up? We picked up a bunch of things, as usual. So let's take a quick look. Church Guardian Shiv. This special throwing blade has a flat tip and is wielded by guardians of the Church of Filianor. Consume FP to project illusory blades which seek their targets. Guardians of the Church, of whom few remain, watch over Princess Filianor's eternal slumber along with the spears of the Church. Filianor's spear ornament. The spears of the Church watch over the princess's slumber, and this serves as proof of their fulfillment of their duty. The embellished gold cloth is woven with a crest of young grass. The princess's knights proudly display these precious favors, which were most often seen swaying from their identical ceremonial spears. Her very crest is young grass, and that should immediately tell you everything you need to know. Green blossoms, budding green blossoms, the Chloranthy ring, and the grass crest shield, which is literally named for her crest, is Filianor. Let me grab my grass crest shield out of the box. Oh, it's out here? There it is. Grass crest shield, old medium metal shield of unknown origin, and it's, side note, it's always said that in Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, just as in 1, 2, and 3, the Chloranthy ring is always described as ancient. So yeah, these are primordial, and this is Filianor's crest. So yeah, we'd have to look at Orshka again, but there is that. The Dragon Head Great Shield. This shield, as hard as a great boulder, is formed by the head of the descendant of an archdragon. The ringed knights, by command of the gods, stood amongst the ranks who set out to slay the dragons, but their contributions were never lauded. White Birch Bow. A short bow crafted with white birch, endowed with light manipulating magic. This thing comes from Ulasil. It's probably Half-Light's. In fact, he uses it when you fight him. It's probably Half-Light. The bow is a relic from an ancient land of sorceries that was swallowed by the abyss, Ulasil, most known for its folk tale of the heroic abyss watcher, Artorias. Yeah, verde. The word in Spanish is verde. I speak bad Spanish. I'm Hispanic. Also, salsa verde is very good. Put the +1s into a box. Notice how both snakes have +3 rings. Let's see here. Oh, right. This looks like crystal from the Ring City. It's a very small amount of titanite, but you see the big daddy guys in the streets. We picked up this, which is Lightning Arrow. One of the goddesses' names is named like a lightning arrow. It's, I think, Brigid? Irish goddesses, I mean. There's a lot of the gods and goddesses in Souls are kind of like Irish named in general. But Brigid, I think, is Lightning Arrow. The few female knights who served in the Age of the Gods used this miracle for dragon slaying. Draw a lightning bow to fire a lightning arrow. The lightning arrows offer a great improvement to the range of spears, and were said to have been used to pierce the eyes of dragons from afar. But remember, beautiful stories are always marked by embellishment. Ringed Knight Straight Sword. Straight sword wielded by the Ringed Knights. The arms of early men were forged in the abyss and betray a smidgen of life. For this reason the gods cast a seal of fire upon these swords and those who possessed them. It's just the same thing there. Yeah, and mushrooms are common in FromSoft games, like mushroom enemies. Like, I hate beating a dead horse, but I beat a dead horse. The Kingsfield and Shadow Tower games both have mushroom enemies that look like the mushroom guys from Dark Souls 1 who get killed in Dark Souls 3 and Bulletaria. And grass was... Funny thing is, grass is important in Demon Souls as a heal item, in Kingsfield as called herbs in Kingsfield as a heal item, and just as important in Dark Souls. And guess what? It is probably the most lore important thing because of Filianor, who is a grass goddess. I think, yeah, people who are into Souls need to at least watch an LP of Kingsfield, because yeah, it's more FromSoft self-referencing themselves than they are fan servicing anybody, because they only do things that they like to do for themselves, and so they reference a hell of a lot of Kingsfield at the end of this game, or they bring back tropes that are like FromSoft ancient into the lore as like super stupid important. Like, I'm almost surprised prism stones don't end up becoming a big key item in the Ring City, because they were like a thing in Kingsfield. Yeah. But is there anything else I needed to read? Anything you guys wanted to talk about real quick? Anything else you wanted to chat about? I think I've gotten like the basic gist of that. But for those either just tuning in or they haven't heard this yet, Ash is you get the Ashen Mist Heart in Dark Souls 2. The Ashen Mist Heart allows you entry into memories, the memories of individuals and the memories of the collective consciousness, noted up by the giant water trees and the memories of a dragon. Coincidentally, the Ashen Mist Heart reveals that the dragon that you get the Ashen Mist Heart from is a fake, because you find that dragon, the real dragon, elsewhere, and you realize that that dragon was murdered and replaced. Because the dragon that should be at the shrine is the one behind ancient dragon memories and stuff like that. That's the size point. So, that transfers over very subtly into Dark Souls 3, where Ash this, Ash that, Ash everywhere. And you are an Ashen One, which isn't new to the series. There's an Ashen Knight in Dark Souls 2 that you can summon. But the Ashen One is different from the Chosen Undead. Both of them. And that is because, Ash, you are a memory of someone who failed to link the fire. Created by the first flame to go link the fire. And it makes you a great vessel for souls, because you are also a harbinger of judgment. Notice the tarot card for judgment has some angels tooting some horns. Replace the horns with bells, because bells is FromSoft lore important. And it also shows dead people rising out of their gravestones. Judgment. And you are gathering all of these souls and all of these memories unto yourself for the new age, because the first flame knows it's going to end up getting killed or dead or betrayed or something. Which is why linking the fire in this game is a moot point for the most part. It's also Hindu in thinking also. Hindu eschatology. So you are collecting memories and stuff like that, and the entire game, all of the where you go fight all of the lords of cinders, those entire zones are memories unto themselves, which explains the whole churning, is because these vast fiefdoms created by their power, fueled by the first flame, allows them to recreate their place at right before they link the fire. So it's just everything's kind of collapsing unto itself. You don't really enter the real world until either you enter the painting, which is somewhat separate from the rest of the game, the kiln, or the rubbish heap. And the kiln and the rubbish heap are basically in the same area anyway. So there you are. The Ring City is an illusion brought on by Gwendolyn. You'll see the little environmental detail that shows that when we get to Half-Light, because Gwendolyn is on the doors to Philionora's church. Ever the dutiful brother. And yeah. Lots of memory shenanigans going on. And Toby mentioned the other day that embers make these memories real, or more real, for that. Merkmen, I think, are those deep deacons who have, like, because Lothric was basically going to be losing to Sullivan anyway. So, in essence, they did. So, we find the Merkmen all over what was the Grand Archives. And they're just doing their thing, I guess. But they've run their course, which is why they're in the rubbish heap, and they don't grow further than that. They've run their course, and there's no more growth for them. Possibly, Marcus. There's a lot of there's a couple of inverted chimneys in the Ring City. You climb up through one instead of being the smoke falling out of it. In fact, you have to turn yourself into the flame of, to reveal your flame of humanity to go through that chimney. And a whole bunch of other things. Zuli, how did you see out of this thing? Please tell me. But yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah, magic, I guess. Also kind of reminiscent of a the blindfold for pyromancers. Yeah. Genesis has some interesting verse, and like I mentioned at the start of the stream, the Ring City DLC is basically Dark Souls' version of the Book of Revelation. So take a look at that. A lot of my theories are already kind of laid out in Syzygy, so if you haven't read that, go for it. I don't know when next stream is going to be. It won't be tomorrow evening at the regular time because I have to go to sleep early for the job the next day. I might do it earlier tomorrow. Not sure. But I'll see you guys next stream. And thank you for joining, everybody. And have a good night. Praise the dead sun.